Plum Dumplings by Andrea Cheng. Art by Karen Dugan. Mamika Grandma says there cannot be anything new in the messy drawer. I've rummaged so many times before, but each time I look, I find something. There's the gum wrapper chain Mom made when she was a girl, and a penny smashed flat by a train. Something small and green is stuck in the back of the drawer. It's a tiny wooden doll. Look, Mamika, I say. Mamika wipes her hands on her apron. I put the tiny doll in her palm, which still has bits of potato stuck to it. She takes the doll closer to the window for a better look. She was your mother's, says Mamika. The first time your great-grandmother came from Hungary to visit us in America, she brought your mom 3 wooden dolls. They nested one inside another, the baby, the mom, and the grandma. What happened to the other 2, I ask. Mamika hands the baby back to me. They must have gotten lost, she says. The mom and grandma dolls must be somewhere. I sort everything in the drawer into piles. There are pennies and rubber bands, but no wooden dolls. I hold the baby in my hand. Don't worry, we'll keep searching, I tell her. I try to think of where Mom could have put the nesting dolls. Mamika, where did Mom play with these dolls? I ask. I really can't remember. Now Mamika is trying to make dough out of the grated potatoes and flour, but the ingredients won't stick together. You know, Anushka, she says, there are so many things I have forgotten. I search every room in the house, looking behind books on the shelves and under the beds. I take the tiny doll out of my pocket and look at her face with its round black eyes. She misses her mom and her grandma so much. I go back to the kitchen. The grated potatoes are still on the counter, and the plums are in a bowl, but Mamika is sitting in the living room. What's wrong? The dough is so crumbly, she says. What about the plum dumplings? I'm tired now, Mamika sighs. Maybe later. She takes off her glasses, and the circles around her eyes are dark. I tiptoe back into the kitchen and stare at the potato flour mixture on the counter. There must be some way to make it into dough. I could call Mom at work, but she's not much for cooking. I take down the recipe box and look under P for plum, but there is no card. Some recipes are in English, and some are in Hungarian. Zilva. I know that's the word for plum in Hungarian. I pull out the card that says Zilva's Gombak, plum dumplings at the top. The first word in the recipe is vegyunk. What does that mean? How can I ever understand this recipe? Mamika is sound asleep. Her face is wrinkled and weary. I want her to read me the recipe, but I don't want to wake her up. I look at the card again. At the end of the recipe, I see a familiar word. Tojas. Egg. I get it. If the dough is too dry, add an egg. I crack an egg in the middle of the potato flour mixture and stir it with a fork. Soon, the mixture forms a ball. I knead it on the counter. Mamika is standing in the doorway with her eyes still sleepy. I show her the recipe, and she squints at the faded letters. It's my mother's handwriting, she says. Could you read it? Sort of. Oh, Anushka, she says softly. Mamika shows me how to take the pit out of a plum and put a sugar cube in its place. Then we roll out the dough, cut it into squares, and wrap them around the plums. You know what my grandma used to tell me, Mamika says? The dough is the grandma, the plum is the mom, and the baby sugar cube is sweet like you. She finishes the last dumpling. Now get the biggest pot we have. I have to practically climb inside the pantry to see what's in the back. I feel around in the dark. There's something round and smooth in the corner. I found the dolls, I shout. Mamika hugs me. Now I remember where your mother used to play. The tiny doll and her mom and grandma watch us from the windowsill. We boil water in the big pot and put in the dumplings. They sink at first and then bob to the surface. When they are done, Mamika fishes them out and puts them into a glass dish. I sprinkle breadcrumbs on top. Everyone loves our plum dumplings. Mom says they're so juicy and sweet. Dad says they're as good as the ones his grandma used to make. Mamika tells them how I used her mother's recipe. I bring the three nesting dolls over to the table. You're the sugar, I tell the baby as I put her inside the mother. And you're the plum, Mom says, pointing to the mother. I close them both inside the biggest one and hold it out toward Mamika. And you're the soft, warm dough, the three of us say together.